Good morning, welcome back. Got updates. The steering gearbox is in and steering shaft is in. Didn't have to pull the steering column. I just didn't want to mess with this rag joint. See how collapsed that thing is in there? It's not going to pull out of there easily. I did have to loosen the back bolts to the firewall, slide the steering column back a little bit. Got that all together. Everything looks great with one exception. I was steering it around. Get you in there real good to see. And can you see what's happening? Can you see this right here? Yeah. Bummer. Real bummer. Yeah, leaky. So I don't know why it didn't leak on the other truck. I don't know. But anyhow, what I'm gonna do is order an input shaft seal kit and try my luck with just taking this back off of here and trying to just put a new seal in it and see if I can get this thing to cooperate. It's leaking pretty good, significantly. Not something I'm gonna let go. So there will be other updates, I'm sure. I can keep on with the fenders. I got this one started. Knocked a bunch of the denting out down here. It's still rough, but I'm going to slice this to make it come back some. Cleaned it up pretty good in the back. That's all got to get POR 15, except right over here. I'm not going to do that edge simply because that's where I'm going to be welding when I slide this back. I'm going to take a little slice of pie out of there, maybe up to about here. To clear the wheels, I mean, the smarter thing would be to replace all this suspension with a 4.5-inch lift, and then it would absolutely clear the 35s. But I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a lift kit on this truck yet. So I'm just going to keep on going. You can see this is pretty rotty, but the metal's not all, the rot's not all the way through. So just going to POR 15 all this, inject a bunch of it down there, lay the fender up on its back, and get it up under there, let it run down inside of there. That'll be just fine for what we're doing here today. I can keep on with that, and I think there's no reason why I can't go ahead and put the core support back on the truck, because that will not be in the way. I don't have to drop the gearbox out of here to put that seal in. In fact, it'll be easier to have it here because it's held in place really securely. So having just assembled all this, now I'm going to disassemble it. And I want to say one other thing. When I was steering it around, some geometry is weird on this. I don't know what's going on, but the steering input should look much straighter in, and it's real notchy now. Every time it goes around, every time one of these bulges right here goes to the top, it I can feel it in the steering wheel. It's like a drag, and that means that inside of here, these internals that I bought and rebuilt it with are hanging up a little bit in there, which is also a bummer. So I'm going to try to address that when I pull all this stuff back out of here, just to get this seal. And I'll cover that hopefully when I get to it. And the other thing, you can probably find videos of people doing this online. That looks pretty rough through there. But let me show you this over here. Here's the old one, and I've already pulled the hex nut off the top, and here's what you end up with is this guy. It sits right down on there, right? And there is the seal that we're after, and one below it, and then of course also suction, this O-ring right here on the side. This this nut here is actually supposed to come off of this piece here. They're not supposed to be integral like that. What I suspect is it's just seized up on there. It's supposed to come off those threads right there. You can see that. But when I knocked it free with a punch, it all just came apart together. I guess that set the depth for it, and I didn't have to worry about any of that. So we're gonna try that on this one. It is entirely possible. We'll try that on this one. I think we'll be okay, and we'll go with it. But I think it's entirely possible that this is the leaky culprit on this one. So what I may do is get another seal kit and go ahead and redo this one. Now it's pretty grimy. I think I need to clean it real good. What I don't know about this one is whether or not it leaked out of the output shaft. That's a different story to get the seal in there, right? You got to take the whole worm gear and everything out from the back side. So I don't know. The reason I would keep these around if you ever go to replace one, unless you had to go buy a new one, the reason I didn't buy a new one is because depending on, like, you can roll the dice with a rebuilt Cardone or something like that, but even that is like $200 with $100 core support. So to Cardone, this whole unit is worth $100. So save on one if you ever have to swap it out, if you don't have to return it as a core at least, and try your hand at messing with these seals. I think it's worth it because, man, I just saw that leaking on the truck here this morning, and I was like, you know what? Hey, let's just see if old Nappy's got one. And they do, and it's almost $500. Ouch, no way, man. This truck isn't worth $500 probably. So we're gonna go with the seal change and see how that goes. Good morning again. It's now today. It was yesterday, and now let's see what else I can get going on today. Gonna run into some snags today. Got family coming over to visit, so I'm not gonna get very far, but I did get a little bit of progress yesterday. A lot of it off camera because that's the way I roll. And let me show you where I'm at right now. Start right here. Gone. And now threw that back up on here. It's better up here than on my floor, and it's not in my way for what I got to do with the gearbox. Ordered the parts from online. They'll be here Wednesday-ish. So I'm gonna mess with all that on Wednesday. I'll do my best to record that as well. Got this up here. It's just bolted on. Obviously, once it comes time to start putting all the sheet metal on, which is basically where I'm at. This will have to be tweaked left, right, back, forward, whatever. Same with the hood latch mechanism, all that. No big deal. You can see I've got the inner fenders. Just wiped them down real good with Scotch-Brite. Hit it with some lacquer thinner. Slapped some flat black primer on them. Both. Let's see. Look at this. Yeah. This one is the driver's side one. And this is the one that was on there. This is one that's cracked right here and buckled in. Again, I'm just going to fit it up so I can see where to cut when I go to open this up a little bit more. But this one was in really good shape. A little bit of hammer and dolly work, you know, particularly down here to get this all flattened out again. This one came off of what was it, 88 or something, the little blue truck that my brother had that we parted out so he could have all that sheet metal. He really needed the doors for his project. But this one's in flawless condition. This one had like not even any surface rust on it. Again, Scotch-Brite flat black primer. Maybe paint all that someday down the road. Maybe more like the satin of the frame rail. Don't really care right now. I just got to get all the hardware, dig it all out. And a lot of the hardware, it was missing. And I got a bunch of it up here in the bag. And there, that's in rough condition. I've got some in a box over there too. A whole bunch of body panel parts and bolts and stuff that I've snarfed over the years. Got the POR work done here. That turned out really nice. It got way down in there, so that's good. Again, I left this little section here so I can cut and weld in there, and then I'll address that. So this is all dry now. Just doing some little, stuff like getting the brackets for the horns not rusty, so I can bolt those back on. Just start getting stuff off the floor as best as possible, and kind of that's the goal today. Lots of little hardware and stuff to clean up. The bumper brackets, I'll probably descale those, get a little bit of the old reformer on there, and just keep pressing forward, getting it done, getting it out of here. Really close, but the big factor now is just getting the steering gearbox seals, the seal kit in. So yes, I gotta wait till Wednesday. That's when it'll be here. That's fine. It's already Saturday, and like I said, I'm gonna lose time today, and with this on here, start fitting the other stuff up, and then I can start putting together the wiring, going through that really good. I found even more bad wiring over here. Of course, this was, yeah, see, I'll get you in there tight. Hopefully you can see this power wire here. Jacketing is gone. Somebody snipped into it down here, I think. And I barely see a few threads there. I think that's the temp gauge and stuff. It's hard to tell. Yeah, that looks like the alternator wires. Your field. And one of them's the temp gauge, probably this orange black stripe one. And that's the main alternator wire. So yeah, these are kind of critical. Want to get this fixed up. I don't like any of that in there. And wiring. So yeah, this is going to be a challenge. All this crap over here was air conditioner. I think washer bottle, plug. Yeah, I don't care. That's fine. But yeah, other than that, just press on, keep on going. Let's see what we can get done today. Welcome back. Spent the week waiting for the little part packet to come in to get after this here power steering unit. So that's what we're going to do now. Try and get those seals put in. So let me get a couple tools together and let's get started. All right, so first thing I want to do, paint marker, and try my best to see if I can get this thing marked as to how in theory it should line up as far as tension, or not necessarily torque, but I guess the depth setting on it. I have no idea. I don't have this spanner, so I'm going to try and get a punch and knock this nut off. This thing's really rusty, if you recall the earlier videos, and it is quite probable that this lock nut here will not spin around this inner part. It will actually spin the entire thing. We'll find out, and if that's the case, I just got to run it back to these lines. So let me get started, see if this thing's going to move. All right, let's try this again. It doesn't want to move. I don't think it's moved the slightest tiny bit, and I am mashing the hell out of this thing. Yeah, let's just keep on going. It might have moved a millimeter. I can't really get into this one without taking the hoses off. No other one that I can get to. I'm gonna put that down there. Lots of little taps maybe will do it. Boy, hey. Oh, she ain't moving. Dang it. That's rough. Man, I don't know if some heat will help that. The seals are already gone, so I really don't have a whole lot to lose. This one is just smashed now. It is not moving. Dang. Frozen. Shoot. All right, let's try something else. All right, well, just like everything else on this truck, nothing seems to be working very well. Man, I guess I should have just replaced these seals while it was off, but here's what I'm gonna do now. Go ahead and take it all the way back off. Not a huge deal, it's just a little bit cumbersome. And put it in the vise and try a little bit better angle on it. This thing I think is gonna be no good though. The other one that I pulled out, it's leaking out of the input as well, but I don't know if it's leaking out of the output shaft also. So if I take that one, clean it all up, and put a new input seal in it, I may put it back in and it's leaking all out of the output shaft. Don't know. And man, I'm really tired of messing with these things, and I don't want to spend $400 on a new one. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. For right now, this is coming back out of the truck, and I'm not gonna enjoy that. So, all right, well, got the old power steering unit, the gearbox out of there. That didn't take too long. Gambled and I lost on that one from the red truck in South Carolina. Really, really rusty. I've hammered that thing to death with the punch and the mini sledge, and it's not budging. It's just frozen. So an older one that I pulled out of Frankenstein that had a little bit of leak out of the input shaft. I'm going to gamble a second time, and that one's degreasing right now, and clean it up, and I'm going to pop that top off because it is not rusted. Luckily it had leaked enough to keep it well oiled. I don't think it's leaking out of the output shaft. I think it's just the input shaft on that one. So again, rolling the dice. Let's get it clean and get it back in here. Okay, I got the old new one from Frankenstein in the vise here on the bench. Take a close look here and you will see where somebody has already hammered this thing off at some point in its life, and then over here hammered it back tight. So that's what we were trying to do to the other one, except see how smashed in that is right there. Well, that's only partial of the way that I had the other one, the rusty one from the red truck, smashed in, and it was not budging. So I'll get my marker and we'll mark this one and see if we can get this apart. I also have a spanner wrench coming from the online website that everybody buys stuff from, and that'll also help get this off. Again, this may come off together. This may slide off separately, so I want to mark it where it's at least this portion, and I can see that's kind of flush right there. So anyway, we'll check that out now. All right, here's the spot where they've already hammered it to death. I might clean that up a little bit. Let's just pick a spot. Oh, how about here? Let's go there. And across here to the body. It came pretty clean. It wasn't terrible to begin with. The one that came out of the corn dog is just absolutely terrible with, you know, road grime and hydraulic oil. So I guess I might could take this clip out of here before I start hammering on it. But first, I just want to see if this thing's even gonna move. So let's give it a couple love taps. Nothing crazy. I hope I got this thing in the vise really good. Yep, let's try this. Just a couple of taps. It's going to take more than taps. Let's see. Gotta find my other, there it is. My other big chisel. And let's see if we can get this thing loose. You would think this would be easier than it is. A couple more cranks on the old vise. I got a GoPro that just keeps shutting off. Here's a spot where they've already smashed it in. So it appears, yeah, they're gonna come off as a unit, and I'll show you that here in a second. I don't know a lot about these. I've never done this before, but I'm thinking that this collar should come off without the center unit. And this is all I was trying to do to the one in the truck. I should be able to do this in the truck, but not with the rusted junk I have, so luck of the draw, I guess. All right. At some point I should be able to hand turn this. And we have not reached that point yet. Come on. Still not yet. Need to clean up my punch. It is badly mushroomed. All right, this thing is, there we go. Maybe, yeah. Tight still, but cutting into my fingers, yes, but it is gonna come off of there. It's gonna leak fluid everywhere, probably. All right, there we go. Couple of clean paper towels. Oh, that was not clean. A couple of clean paper towels here. All right, a little suction on there. There it is. All right, it's out of there. That's what the bottom looks like. This actually comes off of here like that. All right, and that's how we're gonna get the seal off. So let's get it going. Okay, I've got my incredibly cheap pair of clip. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here. Probably not. I'll probably wrestle with this for hours on end and need to, come on, good Lord, there it goes, finally. Okay, that seems like it was easy enough. Not really. Now let's find something that is gonna pry on this. See, it's got the little bearings are down inside of there, little needle bearings, and the seal's right here on top. There's one, and there should be a second one. Hopefully this one fries out. This is probably the one that leaked. This is probably one that is not going to come out. Oh boy. get a little bit more on that. What have I done? There we go. See if I can get it with this. Don't really know if it's moving or not. Doesn't appear to be. And in theory, it'll just pop right out of there. I say in theory. Probably not. Oh, there it goes. All right. Nope. Sure seemed like it was going. Don't want to catch that bearing. I just want the little seal. Tell you what, let's take a look at the new one. And find my razor knife. Does it? How does it? All right, that goes down. Yep. That's the way it appears to look. Where does that go? Oh, that goes up. Okay, so it goes in that way. All right. So that is solid, and it just needs to pry right out of there. Seemed like it wanted to start a minute ago. All right, well, I had to let the camera run out, and wow, that was terrible to get out of there. It's like got some kind of crust. It's almost like it's real gooey. I don't know what that is. It was stuck real bad to the bottom, and I think you should just be able to just go boop, but I couldn't. I ended up having to flip it over and just catch the edge of it and give it a couple of love taps here with the little ball peen. And I finally drove it out of there, and now I gotta man, there's just like goo down in there. Can you see that? Like all this crap. I don't even know, what is that? Some kind of snot. I don't know. Let me get this all cleaned up. Luckily I didn't tear anything up prying at it with my trusty flathead seal puller. Get this cleaned up. Here's the O-ring that goes on the outside. That should pop right off of here. There you go. Yeah, little O-ring goes right in that groove, right there. And now I just got to get it cleaned up and put it all back together. All right, so I pulled the other one off. The one that this was the one originally on the 82, and this seal has the, if you see on the new seal, there's a little spring down inside of there, right? It's cupped and the spring sits in there. And this seal has the spring facing inward towards the gearbox. This one doesn't appear to ever have been messed with. This one that I pulled out of the gearbox that's going to go in, the seal was the other way. But I told you, somebody's already been in this one. There was clear evidence somebody's done the exact same thing I did, which is chisel it out. If you know the answer, please comment below. I don't know. Maybe it's in these instructions. I probably should read them. But I'm going to go with the spring right there facing inward for a couple of reasons. It seems to me that's the way it should go, because if you look down in there, there's a little lip and a recessed area, and that is going to fit real nicely into that little spring pocket. The second reason is this backside is kind of rigid, and that'll be a really nice place to put my socket when I drive this new one in. Still got some more cleaning to do, and maybe I'll read the instructions, but I doubt it. All right, let's get this thing back together. So a little bit of power steering juice goes a long way. And I'm gonna get it all over this seal. Lube it up to start off with. And as I said, spring's gonna go down. Get some on the walls in here. I can still barely see where I marked the paint marker. Let's see if I can get this joker started down in there a little bit unevenly. Oh. Okay, that's started, and looks like a 7/8 socket covers it dang near perfectly. So let's tap this joker down in there. See where we're at. Flashlight, please. Appears to be at the bottom. Looks like it's even. I hope. Don't want to do this again. Okay, that appears to be okay dokie. See if I can see down in there with my flashlight. Everything look okay? Yep, sure does. Looks even, Steven, all the way around and all the way down to the bottom. Best I can tell, anyhow. Don't really want to hammer on it any more than I have to. So, all right. Get a little more of this going in here on these little bearings. They're dry. When I took this apart, I could tell it had transmission fluid in it, not power steering fluid. But maybe that's even better. It won't hurt it, I'm sure. Look pretty clean. All right, let's see. That seems reasonable to me. Now we got to get the round seal on there again. A little bit of the juice. Yep, that'll do it. And now this has got to go back on there. I've lubed this up, but I want to get more on this shaft here. I cleaned this off real good with a brake clean. You can even see where the seals run on the shaft there. It looks worn more on one side than the other. Precision stuff. All right, I guess I can just go ahead and slide this back. Oh, like I said, let's get this on there. And I cleaned this all up real good and wiped it off, so I want to get fluid all over it as well. Yes, I'm going to have this stuff everywhere. Okay, now drop this joker back on there. Ugh. Boy, that thing snapped into place, huh? All right, well, cool. Now, the outer seal, I have no idea which way this one goes. How'd the other one look? That was the clean side. Yep. That doesn't tell me anything. Well, let's put it on this way. Seems reasonable to me. How about let's not use a flat blade? Just make sure that's all the way down on there. There it goes. And I should be able to get this clip back on there. Go ahead and use the new one they gave me. First do a comparison. Identical. Get this thing running there. One of these days I'll get a nice clip tool. So close. There we go. All right, cool. We in business. Now I just gotta slap it all back together. If you're gonna do one of these, this is where, this is the part number I got. Sunsong, probably gonna go ahead and guess somewhere in China. Yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina, assembled in the USA with parts from USA, Mexico, and Taiwan. Okay, well, whatever. Seems like quality parts. Power steering repair kit, 840-1454. All right, now let's get this thing jammed back on there. And as I usually do, I have set down my punch somewhere that I'm sure I'll never find it again. And this time, going the other way, just gonna real lightly drive this thing back on here. It's already too tight for me to spin with my hands, so you get to watch this pain. This should only take about an hour. I need to get that spanner. This should go a little easier than it is. So something doesn't feel right. So let's stop. Let's back it out of here again. I'm gonna make sure that feels like that O-ring might be riding up, so I'm gonna take it back off and look. Oh boy, is it binding up. All right. So, just gonna check. Pull it back up. O-ring seems fine, still got oil on it. I oiled this in here real good. All right, well, I guess we're okay. Dang on it. Hey, this has two little slots in the bottom, 1, 2. And it's gotta go on the little forks down in there, or else it won't go all the way down. That's it. And it just screws back in. Should screw, you'd think it would screw a little bit easier than it is. I need a spanner. All right, well, okay. I'm not gonna bore you. I'm gonna drive this back on and we'll be good to go. All right, time to get this thing back in here. So the first bolt is gonna be at the very back right there. And then while you're starting on that, I think, are we gonna run into the same problem we did last time where this doesn't want to line up? I think we are. Wait, something ain't right. Something wrong. Oh yeah, I'm in the wrong hole. All right, come on, take that nut back off. Something wrong.
There you go.
All right, gotta go up to there. There we go.
Is David?
I think so. Pretty sure. And here's the last. As long as you get them kind of fingered on there, it's all gonna be good. It ain't gonna go nowhere. All right.
This one lined up, actually.
Yeah, well, especially once I put it into the right hole on the frame out of the 3,000 holes on this frame. All right. It's the next day in the afternoon and got a lot done yesterday. Pretty good. Figure I'd give you some updates. Been doing a little bit behind the scenes and show you where we're at after yesterday. And bring you in here, you can see that the power steering gearbox is in fact in now. And as I said yesterday, not gonna mess with trying to get any black paint on it till I know it doesn't leak. So far so good, but yeah, there's still time for it to start leaking. Also, you'll notice a universal joint here rather than the other one, the original style. And this is an El Cheapo from the online place where everybody shops. Got it installed. It's extendable up to, I don't know, 20 something inches, 25 inches maybe. Got the power steering lines back on, topped up the power steering fluid to make sure there was plenty in the reservoir to hopefully, as I started steering it around, that it would start weeping. Before I hooked up the drag link, I ran this back and forth, trying to get the fluid pulled through. It's really not going to do a whole lot of good until I've got the engine running and the pump going to do the high pressure fluid. But hopefully once we get there, that get this back together and running, I won't start leaking there. Also working on some wiring, trying to figure out, I got to dig in and take this burned up fusible link out of here, which means I got to hack into this over here to replace just that one. The other two are good. I have had the wiring diagram out trying to figure out what this large black lead goes to, and I really don't want to take all of this apart just to see where it goes. Here's the only large black wire I could find coming back this way in the loom. Lots of problems with the, turns out these little red wires, the factory original red, are the ones that are busted up everywhere. They just didn't like, this is new red wire, but the old red wire that's like the 18 gauge, man, it's just everywhere I look through the whole engine, over there as well to the voltage regulator. Don't know if you can see that little red guy. That thing's all cracking apart, all the jacketing. And that's the same thing I replaced on the field wire on the alternator the other week. So I got a bunch of little projects going on. Still got to finish up down here as far as, I got to tighten up the drag link. I'm just leaving that all kind of loose in case this joker does decide to start leaking everywhere, and then I'm going to drop it back out of there. Cleaning up and de-rusting the battery tray, get that all fixed up, and I'm working on the fitment of this fender over here. It's a challenge, and then I got to figure out how I'm going to trim this down here. Maybe cut a slice of pie through there and then cut this down here. I don't know. I'll have to kind of just mess with it as I go. But there's the updates of where I'm at now. And I guess that's probably going to do it for this, because I just got a bunch of behind the scenes kind of junk to work on. Wiring stuff. A lot of really not interesting things. So, don't need to drag you along with me for all that. So, that being said, hopefully I can make some good progress getting this back together, getting it fired up, and getting it out of the shop for a little while. Got some other things I need to work on that I need this space for. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you the next time. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.